And you want to give me a quick check?
Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta Echo Foxtrot Golf Hotel Indigo.
Man, very military almost. So, Anthony, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So, tons of stuff going on in your life, as usual. I've been working my way through No Reservations on Netflix, and if you're unfamiliar, tell everybody a little bit of your background in a nutshell, because for foodies, you're a demigod, but for people that aren't foodies, they're like, Anthony who?
Right.
You were a cook for many, many, many years, a chef in New York.
28 years standing on my feet in kitchens in New York City. I wrote a really obnoxious memoir called Kitchen Confidential that did really well, and on the strength of that, I found myself with a TV show where I get to go anywhere I want in the world with my friends and make self-indulgent sort of travel and food and alcohol-related television.
Now and I love the alcohol-related part as well. It seems on the show very organic and almost like it just fell into your lap. Was it that easy after the book? Did Travel Channel fall in your lap, or did you pursue it?
I sold a book. I knew that Kitchen Confidential had done well, so I went to my publisher and said, I got a great idea for a book. I travel all over the world, all the cool places I've never dreamed of going, and you pay. And then some people walked in off the street who claimed to be able to get me who wanted to make television of this event as I wrote the book and traveled around. So we had 2 years on Food Network, ended badly, and my partners and I wandered around looking for someone silly enough to finance an even bigger budget version.
And then, from my perspective, and I'll tell you, I haven't read the book, but I've watched the TV show, and it was interesting because I started on like season 4 or something, and then I recently went back and watched season 1, and as a guy who's done a little bit of TV in the past as well, I was like, wow, Anthony, the first season, it's almost like, or you tell me, what'd you learn? Because it seemed like by season 3 or 4, you really hit your stride. That first season seemed like you were trying to find your way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very organic process. We really didn't know what kind of TV we were making. We try to sort of, by season 3, we tried to undermine whatever it was that worked last week. We were consciously trying to sabotage or undermine that or turn it on its head. We just don't want to, me and my camera crew were really close, and by season 3 we were trying to find new ways to tell a story every week.
And then did it come down to, because as a viewer it seems like you're going to show us what you like, regardless of if it's the nasty bits or you have a buddy that's in that city that's a great chef, and this is a slice of your psyche, good, bad, and the other.
Yeah, there's standalone essays. I mean, I don't have to, I'm not showing the 10 best restaurants or even a fair overview. We try to avoid monuments. You know, a show for us in Paris where we don't show the Eiffel Tower is a successful show. You know, let the other guys do that. And I have the luxury of not having to be diplomatic. I mean, most travel hosts have to pretend that everything's wonderful. I can just look at the camera and say, this is just the worst food I've ever had. I hate this hotel. I hate this country. Don't come here.
Right. And speaking of, I just recollect you a second ago saying it ended badly with Food Network. You are in Seattle with Batali's. You had a love fest with Mario and his dad on No Reservations before, and Anthony Bourdain joins me here in studio. By the way, at the Moore Theater tonight at 8 if you want to go, and the new season of No Reservations coming out on July 5th. Still a love fest with the Batali family?
Oh, love them.
So ended badly with Food Network, but not the Batalis.
Oh, I love all of them. You know, Mario had the greatest stand and stir show ever on that network. He's a genius. He's the smartest chef out there. I mean, he could just as soon do a show about Renaissance architecture or obscure 50s B-sides. You know, he could do anything. So naturally, he's not making TV on Food Network anymore. He's too good for him.
And then his dad's little sliver of a restaurant, salami-making shop, whatever you want to call it here.
They're just a perfect place to eat. I've often said they should make it a national monument. You know, just put yellow police tape around it and declare it a protected, a UNESCO site. Well, a station of the cross, as you will.
If there's anything I've learned from No Reservation, anytime you see a long line of people standing in the rain outside a food establishment, that strikes me as an Anthony Bourdain place to eat.
Well, that's a good sign. Clearly, they're not poisoning their neighbors. You know? The locals seem to like it. And, of course, it fits right in my comfort zone. I like cured pork in all forms. I like slow-cooked things. I like Italian food. And I like them.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to ask you about, because I've watched most of the shows, you almost have and there's not a delicate way to say this, an unease with the very people that are your biggest fans. Am I wrong there? Well, like you're, when a foodie approaches you, it's kind of like, oh, geez, is the vibe that I get.
Well, it's just like this. I for me, for 28 years, work for me was standing in a kitchen. So it feels sort of shifty and dishonest that I'm getting paid to do this now. I mean, look what I do for a living. I travel around and have a really good time. I'm drunk half the time. I go anywhere I want in the world and make self-indulgent television. I feel a little unworthy. It feels a little shifty to me that I get paid.
So it's not necessarily the person; it's the role reversal.
I feel I'm a little embarrassed by it. You know, why would anyone be interested or care? I still feel I kind of feel that way.
Okay,
you know,
so when it comes time to sit down and write a new book with that as the backdrop, and you've been very transparent on the show, do you wait, sit in front of a typewriter and wait for the ideas to come? Do you sit in a bar and jot it down on a napkin? How did Medium Raw, the new book, hit you?
It was sort of festering slowly over the course of 10 years, sort of storing stuff up that I wanted to say. It's a follow-up to Kitchen Confidential in the sense that it tracks how my life has changed and how the restaurant business has changed. And when I figured I had enough to say, I just I wake up in the morning and start writing. I don't think about who's going to read the book or what they might like. It's really, I just wake up and write as best I can.
So you got to have a dust jacket synopsis. I'm sure that the publishers drive you crazy on that stuff. If you're describing Medium Raw and people in Seattle, there's a huge community of people that love food here. Why should I buy this book if I bought Kitchen Confidential?
I thought it was a kinder, gentler, fuzzier, warmer book about fatherhood and how it changed and become more philosophical and Cosby-esque, but somehow along the way it became a vicious, nasty, and profane, filthy book.
Well, that's because you wrote it.
Yeah. It's a little bit of both. It's a book about I guess coming to terms with the fact that I'm no longer a cook, and coming to terms with the fact that the world of restaurants and chefs has really, really changed in 10 years, and I wanted to track that.
In what way? With the whole, 5 different food channels on cable, or?
Well, that certainly has raised the prestige of your average chef to the point that people actually care what chefs think now. They didn't 15 years ago. Other than a few celebrity chefs, people still walked into a restaurant expecting to be, the customer's always right. We don't care what the chef thinks I should eat. I'm here for a steak. Nowadays, I think people are much more willing to give the chef the benefit of the doubt, that they're a little more interested. They're more likely to eat like chefs themselves do. They go into a restaurant that they're interested in, and they say, what are you good at? You tell me. I'm interested in, letting you, give us your best shot.
And so do you find that to be a good trend?
I think it's a fantastic trend. It's a liberating trend. Anytime chefs are allowed to cook the food they love and think they're best at, everybody wins.
But at the same time, the flip side of that coin is a proliferation of the huge food chains that I see you mock continually on the TV show, where they bring out a giant platter of food and there's 73 locations. And
I don't know. I mean, do any celebrity chefs run major, or who? Can you name a celebrity chef of a major food chain? Oh, Tyler Florence, right? He's a chef at Applebee's, right?
Right.
He's done a great job there, I got to say.
I'm not saying necessarily celebrity chefs. I'm saying the restaurants in general. You have the niche market. Maybe it always was.
I mean, I really hope that nobody's like watching my show or even watching Rachel Ray's show and saying, let's go to Burger King. That's grazing. That's not eating.
Okay, and so when Anthony Bourdain comes to Seattle, besides the Batali family, is there someone you look forward to? Is there a place that is a must-go for you?
I love Le Pichet. I'd love to hit some of the trucks. I hear there's an exploding truck scene.
I don't know if it's exploding, but there's a few.
It's a nationwide thing. If it hasn't really ballooned here, it will.
All right, so Anthony Bourdain's in town. He's here tonight, 8 p.m. at the Moore. And what are you going to do on the Moore? You get up on stage. I hear it's a pretty full house. Book reading, take questions. What do you do?
No, I think I'm going to just talk. I'm going to go out there and talk about whatever's on my mind and rant and rave a little bit, and then take questions from the audience. So hopefully they get a little liquored up before they show up. That
I'm
always
sure
helps.
that won't be a problem. No Reservations, new season. Is this season, 9?
We're finishing
8?
season 6 and
Season 6.
headed off to begin season 7 shortly.
Okay, so that starts July 5th. Anything you can forward promote on that?
Well, we shoot in some pretty interesting places. We have a show in Liberia that was pretty hairy. Went back to Beirut, Kerala, India. A really completely crazy Rome show, shot entirely in black and white. We sort of dared ourselves. On my camera, people said, "Dude, we can make high-test food porn in black and white." And I said, "Oh yeah, well let's do it."
And then, just as a final question, as someone who's watched a bunch of shows, do you have the most patient wife on the planet Earth?
No. She's Italian, like from Italy, and a mixed martial arts enthusiast. So far from it.
So when you're gone for weeks at a time, are you getting the 9 voice messages to call me and what the hell are you doing?
Yes, but you'll notice also that there's a suspiciously high number of shows in and around Italy over the last few years. I bring the family.
Nice. All right, well, Anthony, it was a pleasure meeting you.